708 is just on the horizon, so I thought it might be a good time to update everyone on 707, right? A pretty small patch, nothing that crazy, just a few tweaks. Just ignore the fact that this video alone is over 10 minutes long as a part 1 of 3. Before we get into the new items, I just want to say a farewell to the old items. I don't really know why, but I've grown attached to those 88 by 64 pixel illustrated representations of what boils down to just a bunch of numbers going up or down, you know? Iron Talon was a fun item, put to death for the sins of its users. We abused LC Jungle, guys, and Iron Talon paid the price. And Poor Man's Shield was also an item. You know, I'm not actually too phased about that one dying. Aeon Disc is the loser loner at gameplay item house parties. It just sits in the corner being ignored, and I'm not even not okay with that. I sort of don't like Aeon Disc. I don't like what it brings to Dota, you know? I mean, the item's good, I'd buy the item if I needed it, but I wish it wasn't an option. I don't like the idea of having status resistance, it's really dumb. It used to be a really fine art, stacking stuns in a perfect sequence. Now with status resistance here, you just have to Hail Mary it and hope it was timed right. But the item's here, it's not going anywhere, so let's get used to it. Most people have already talked about how it's good on split pushes to avoid being caught. What a fun strat that they're making even more powerful. Hooray! But it's also good on heroes that need to get off one spell and one spell alone to win a team fight, you know? But it's nearly 3.5k gold. That's a massive commitment for a purely defensive item. It's good in theory on Oracle and Dazzle. It's pretty handy on heroes who are more into disabling over dealing damage. It's great on Warlock. His Fatal Bombs and Golem aren't actually affected by the damage immunity. On Tiny, a 5-second Mirana arrow is ended in 1.75 seconds. Most of this has already been said though. What hasn't been said is it's really good against Bloodseeker. You can use the little bit of immunity to reposition into a realm of relative safety, as well as to dodge the Blood Rite. It's actually amazing against Bloodseeker. It's the first and kind of the only item that you can and should go to counter Rupture. He pops Lincolns with his Q, Rupture goes through BKB, but with Aeon Disc, you dictate when and how you get below 80%, because you're in control of where you walk. It's great for this. Pick it every game with a Seeker on the other team. Quick question though. Is it a shield? Is the grey part in the picture part of the design? I had a modeler friend make it for the animated segment that just played, and he came back with it like that, and I had to tell him that that's not what it is. It's not a shield, it's a disc. But then I stopped myself because I don't know. I don't know what it is. What is it? Commenters? The dust has settled after the months that Kaya has been in the game, and it's sort of worse than I called in that Death Prophet guide. This item's stupid. It pretty much is Bloodstone now. Storm Spirits rush this over Bloodstone, Tinkers prefer this over a 6,000 gold late game item, Zeus's buy this and Veil, and Nuke for 800 damage a pop. It's weird. It's a sub 2k item with over a 56% win rate. That's almost unheard of. The only item higher is Helm of the Dominator with a 58% win rate, and that's technically right on 2k gold, so it doesn't really count. And also it's because it's the core item of Lycan, who, you know, any item that Lycan buys is probably going to shoot the win rate of that item up. Basically, just buy this item. Meme Hammer! Okay, I think this item is a bit of a joke. The stats are actually great. 1.5 mana plus HP regen and strength and int. It's sort of a shame about the meme status of its active. It takes 3.5 seconds to land, whereupon it stuns for less than that. 690 damage to units, 375 to buildings. I already touched on the item back in the Batrider guide, but I'll elaborate and say, here's a bunch of heroes I'd like to go this on. Legitimately, Elder Titan. Disruptor. Kunkka. Treant Protector.
So some people might consider this item throwing, but I am not some people.
Winter Wyvern. I'll elaborate on this soon. Phoenix. You can cast it during dive and do this. You then repeat until the tower is completely gone. And of course, Batrider. Here's a bunch of heroes I'd go this on for the memes. Naga Siren. Cast Song of the Siren, start channeling Meteor Hammer on any group of 2 or more people. Shift Q, cancel Song of the Siren. Meteor Hammer and Cancel Song both have an activation time of 0.5 seconds after they've been cast, so there's literally no tick in between Song ending and Hammer stunning. It's also pretty good for the stats, it makes your illusions tankier, and Naga sort of wants mana. I don't know, maybe this is not even a meme, maybe this can actually go into the section above. Pango and Storm Spirit, you can cast it during their ultimates.
Oh, nice.
Yes! They can't stop it! They can't stop it!
Ricky, you can cast it while he's completely invisible. Nature's Prophet, you can cast it during Sprouts. Monkey King, you can cast it in the trees. OD, you can cast it during Astral, but you're a fucking idiot if you think that's a good idea. Faceless Void, you can cast it during Chrono to get a 6.75 second AoE stun. Or you could do the boring but effective strat. You could buy it on heroes that can't push very well, so you have the ability to actually take objectives after a one-team fight. Think Undying, Pudge, pretty much any support, even Tinker. But keep in mind, the pro strat you're imagining in your head of re-arming Meteor Hammer's active is disabled on it. Good thinking though, but even without the ability to refresh it, Tinker struggles to push towers, even though he's one of the greatest split-pushing creep killers in the game. So push towers with it, the 700 damage on heroes is more of a high-risk, high-reward play. It's totally possible, but I wouldn't really base my game around it going well, you know? Nullifier. Okay, yikes. So why isn't this actually built out of Null Talisman? Seems like a missed opportunity, right? I called this item way back as the counter to BKB. I didn't really consider how much it counters every single other item in the game. You can't Yules to purge it, you can't Force Staff to escape it, you can't Blink, Grieve, Satanic, nothing. This, plus Orchid, means you cannot do a single thing but walk away, which you also can't do because you're constantly being slowed. And all with a 13-second cooldown. Less than every item cooldown mentioned earlier. This item is terrifying. It's amazing against Tinker. I'd recommend it wholeheartedly when going up against him. For the low price of 8,775 gold, you can get an uncounterable item combo. Well no, that's a lie. You can counter it with Lincoln's or a well-timed Lotus Orb, or Aeon Disc, come to think of it. Or you can counter it with help from your very reliable teammates. Nullifier, best combos with silencers, so Orchid, as mentioned earlier, but also Ricky and Smokescreen. Ricky is countered by Force Staff, arguably more than even Dusts. Force Staff gets people out of Smokescreen. Smokescreen is a 6-second silence, slow and miss chance. It's beneficial to keep people in it for as long as possible. And Nullifier sort of does exactly that. Nullifier removes the option to Force Staff out, Smokescreen removes the option of using an escape spell to get out, so their only option is to man-fight you in a zone where they miss 70% of their auto attacks. Silence is another one, for obvious reasons. He silences. It's a good item that can slot in where you'd normally get Scythe. Nullify is never really a core item for most heroes, except Phantom Assassin, PA. A hero who, by all accounts, probably doesn't need any help rampaging through games, and yet the benevolent frog decided to do it anyway. Phantom Assassin is a hero who already has plenty of attack speed, it pretty much just builds damage and a little bit of durability. Nullifier gives damage and a little bit of durability. Fancy that. The active, though, disables the only real counter to a PA, with BKB jumping on you, which is either popping Ghost Scepter or Blade Mail. I'd consider this a pretty core late game pickup on PA in pretty much any game where you're a threat, because most people will answer the threat with one of those two items. But now knowing this information, don't go rushing out to play PA, just because I said she's great. I don't really want that on my conscience, you know? Oh boy, Spirit Vessel, my favorite of the 5 new items from a serious gameplay angle. Meteor Hammer takes the prize for favorite on a meme level. Spirit Vessel is an upgrade to an item that I picked up on every hero ever, even before it had a late game counterpart, Urn of Shadows. Spirit Vessel was nearly going to have a video all to itself, but I thought, no, we should focus on the important stuff. Basically, even without an active, it's an item that gives stats, move speed, mana regen, and 250 health. The same as Vanguard. In fact, I don't think I've gone Vanguard since Spirit Vessel was added. It's honestly just a sturdy item, and probably a good example of item power creep, but we won't get into that today. The stats are good, let's just say that. The active is amazing, however. Stupidly so. It does the same thing as Urn, just ramped up to the nth degree. When used on enemies, it deals 160 damage over 8 seconds, which is less than the 200 damage from Urn, except that Vessel also reduces health by 3% of their current HP, which updates every tick. So on a full health hero, it'll get him to 97% HP, then 3% of 97, then 3% of that, and so on. Basically, it ends up dealing around 21.6% of their original HP. if no other attacks are done, obviously. This means that you benefit from leading with Vessel, and like Urn, it does the reverse and heals, on allies obviously. But it also reduces or increases all HP regen during it, depending on if they're an enemy or an ally, which gets weird, because a lot of things count as HP regen. Spirit Vessel itself counts as HP regen. Cold Embrace does, Purifying Flames and False Promise do, and so does Cheese. Dude, it's stupid and fun and stupidly fun, but you can cast Spirit Vessel on a person whom you know is about to pop Satanic or Cheese and negate the heal by 70%. You can make a Cheese heal for just 750 HP, when it normally heals for 2500. That's crazy. But that's just a bit of a Cheese strat if you don't mind the pun. The real strategic value of Spirit Vessel is putting it on Huskar and Alchemist, if they're on the enemy team. You know how Alchemist ult is pretty much used exclusively for attack speed and that 56 HP regen a second? Yeah, you can make that 16, or what equates to 3 rings of health. Spirit Vessel, like every item in this patch, has crazy implications for the future through 7.08, 7.09, deep into the next updates. And this is barely scratching the surface of what you can do with them, but I think I'll have to leave it here for now. I've given you all the information you need for these new items. Go forth and make the next hit series about wacky oddball hero builds. And then prepare to get sued. Thank you especially to these following pledges: Chris 1996, Free Kill, Foxy fucking Loxley, Lucas Kukon, Michael Robb, Mine, Siege Towers, The Adam Sandler Attack Crab, Asbestos, Bow Wow, Jeff Miller, haha, I saw these guides a whole day ago, I'm Pickle Rick, Ich Fressen, Kim Nelson, Mr. Magic aka The Tones, Mr. Revolute, Shadow Sweetheart, just 12. Just 12. Apache Mari wearing a headwear neckwear nicknamed Hatcrafter, Ashen Rabbit, Big Old Mean Eric made me lose with his shitty guide. Which one though? Carbon Bond, Christian Rudder, Cody Riches, A Little Shit, Digital Dark, Don't Do Vegetables, Stay in Drugs and Eat School, Emmy Dies Alone, English Breakfast Tea, Exato, Freed of Malachor, Grumman, Hi, I'm Eric and I'm a filthy fucking slark first picker, Jolly Jew Giant, King Gizzard and the Shitty Wizard, Leon Silver, Leonard, Tsunami Shadow, Milocott, Mr. Willie, Neutral Platonic Land-Based Vertebrate, Orange Filter Sky, Pro, Crestination Studios, Pro S, Punith P, Raphael Silver, Rhett Mitchell, RJ shouldn't have to play position 5 every game. True. Ryan Webb, Rugum Fleur, Shiva's Guard, Scar, Slap a Leg, a Lamb on the side for it, Soranok, Taco, Boom Dog, The Choco Taku, Tugs McBoat, Wazer 107, XD, and Yabos McGee. And, I mean, the rest, but they didn't pay enough to get their name read out. It feels weird doing this every single time, but I made a promise to not read their name out unless they pledged enough. This is literally the deal that we had. Alright, cool, bye.